Hey, hey, hey. It's the Chaos Queen here, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
This is Craig Miller, Director of Star Wars Fan Relations, and you are listening to Studio 2009.
Grr, arg.
There is nothing wrong with your podcast player. Do not attempt to adjust the volume. Hello and welcome back into our studio. You are now listening to Studio 2009, only on the Geekcast Radio Network. I'm, of course, TFG and Mike, and joining me in the latest Gamer Origins today, I welcome the person who has nothing but little nightmares about It Takes Two. And then he takes us on a Path of Exiles 2, plus we face the Outlast trials in Pal World, because that would make that game so much more enjoyable, because Pal World is boring as shit. You might know him as one of the superfans of Cyberpunk 2077. It is Gawky Let's Play. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello. Wow, that was a energetic intro.
I had to go through all of your playlist titles to get all those to make sure I had it right.
Nice. There's a lot of twos in there.
Yes, 2, 2, 2. We're waiting on Little Nightmares 3, folks. It's coming. We promise. It's coming. Or they promise, supposedly.
I wasn't around to catch the original, so I always play the second one.
You went back into the first one, didn't you, or no?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, okay. I was going to say.
That's a big theme in my gameplay. Was that I think it was which one was I playing? Yeah, Path of Exile 2. I only heard about Path of Exile until I saw the preview stuff for that game. I was like, oh, there's a first one? That's a big theme in my game library.
Okay, I was too young for this, but way too young to have even seen the sequel, but I saw Beverly Hills Cop 2 first. I didn't see because Beverly Hills Cop 1, I was 4 years old when it came out. I was 7 years old when the second one came out, so I didn't see that until I was probably 10 in 1990. I'm old, folks, in case you don't remember. Everybody listening to this podcast should know at this point. 45 years. Jesus. All right, video games. First, I have to ask you, and if I will cut this out if you don't want this in the final thing, but Gawky Let's Play is not your first gamer tag. It's not how I originally knew you.
Is it not? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you had changed from Gawky Gamer to Gawky Let's Play. Why the change, and where did the first one come from?
The first one came as a kind of a nod to my potential audience. Okay. Because it was gay, as in gay, and then gamer. So it was a nod to that community. But then I kind of read around it a little bit, and actually that term is quite a loaded, both gaming in the traditional sense, but also gamer as in LGBTQ. So that was where the name change came from, to be more broad appeal. Maybe I think that's what I was going for.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, 30 questions, all about video games. And obviously, as your lovely bestie told me in her episode or my episode or whatever episode we did the first time around, she goes, question 1 is stupid. Why would you have them as a guest on your podcast if they didn't already do this? But question 1, did you grow up playing video games, and what were some of your earliest video game memories?
Okay, yeah. So, my earliest game experience, I'd call it, although it was very fleeting, was it had a single joystick with a button on the side of it, and then it would be like a bouncing ball on the screen. Was it Pong or something similar? And on a cartridge,
Probably.
You'd have like 50 variations of the same thing. That was my first early experience in games. And then probably a few years later after that, my friends started to have like systems that you could put tapes in, and then you'd load the game from the tape. And a lot of them were like 2D platform scroller type games. I remember the anxiety of waiting for the tape to load, and if it stalled or did something janky, the game wouldn't load, so you'd have to start again. So yeah, that's kind of all of my experience really of gaming as a young person.
Cartridges didn't have load times. I mean, you might have to. Cartridges did not have load times.
Yeah,
you might have had to blown in them
one.
to. Yeah, you might have had to blown in them to get them to work, but they didn't have.
I do remember that I used to have one that you used to flip a little lid up at the front and slide the cartridge in front to back. Was that the 64 Nintendo?
No, that was the Nintendo. No, that was Entertainment System. Gray and red.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yep. Nintendo Entertainment System. Actually, 40 years old this year, folks.
Oh.
Nintendo Entertainment System, 1985, 2025.
Oh my lord!
40 years old this year. God.
I'm slightly older than you.
Yeah, slightly. It's okay.
Slightly, marginally.
Slightly. We can just sit here and talk in our old man voices. Oh, God.
And scream at the clouds.
That's right. You damn clouds, get off
you
my
damn
lawn.
clouds.
What video games were you playing the most as a kid? Were you an Atari gamer, NES, Sega, or other type of game system gamer?
Well, I just spoke about the NES, but I think that is pretty much, as a young person, I wasn't really gaming. So I was more of an out and about kid. That kind of. So my history of video games is very much more kind of contemporary,
modern
kind of now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. How have your gaming habits changed as you grew up and throughout your life?
I think as I became more kind of professionally comfortable, I kind of explored more kind of digital media. Yeah. And games were kind of one of them. I didn't really spend a huge amount of time on computers or around them. I used them at work and stuff like that, but it wasn't until probably my late 30s that I started playing games proper.
Oh, cool. Which video games that have released when you were an adult have you liked the most?
Well, I have to say Cyberpunk, of course.
If you don't, the whole internet's going to come after you because they know.
They'll get my membership card, and I'll be duly booted from the crowd. I think Cyberpunk is probably my favourite to date. Probably second is probably the Outlast games. They've become big favourites of mine recently.
Okay, I know you're into the horror genre of gaming, but why? That game is just so over the top with the gore. Explain to me why people are liking Outlast Trials. I'm genuinely curious. I'm not trying to make fun of it. I'm not trying to laugh. I'm just seriously curious because I watch y'all play that and I'm just like, okay, I can listen to the screams. I can listen to it. I can't watch it.
See, there's probably two or three things at play, really. The films I watched when I was in my late teens were Friday the 13th, Freddy, all those kind of gore films, slasher films. So I think I kind of got a bit of an immunity from there. From an academic perspective, I understand the psychology that it's all based in and on and around. So I kind of appreciate the attention to detail that are there. And again, kind of a professional thing is that as a counsellor in real life, I've been trained to be very together, very, deliberate about language and all of that kind of stuff. And horror particularly has a way of short-circuiting that.
Especially that game.
It kind of unsettles me to the point where I can't keep myself together quite and so I enjoy the kind of the undoneness of being terrified, and does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, It's your story, man. I just needed to understand why people are like, because I'm not.
And it's horrifying as well. That's the.
Yeah,
You think, oh wow, that happened.
yeah. Let's just hope Little Nightmares 3 isn't that horrifying because, oh boy, that teacher with her neck in the second game. Yee. Ugh.
There was several unsettling points in that game.
Yeah, but I would rather watch
children and horror, an unhealthy combination at the best of times. So
yeah, no, that's yeah, but
some scary kid singing a nursery rhyme in the corner. It unhinges me.
I can see that it would. We don't like throwing around hate around here, and we usually don't. But the way the question is worded is: are there any video games that you hate, or any ones that you've been greatly disappointed by?
That's a good question. I'm not sure on that one.
We've stumped him. All right. Who is your you'll get a chance to choose more later, but who is your end all be all favorite character from any video game? You can pick a hero and a villain.
Hero wise, I think would have to be Jackie Wells from Cyberpunk, a major Act 1 character. I got quite emotional the first time I played through that. I don't spoiler, he dies. But I think the story was told so well that you kind of related to him very early on, and when he does die is quite an emotional moment. I think villain-wise would have to be kind of either Officer Coyle or Mother Gooseberry from Outlast, or the guy from the second one. He was quite villainous. But I can't remember his Eddie something. I can't remember his surname. But yeah, they're villains. Big Outlast crew.
Oh boy. Who are some other video game characters you like? Are there any you don't like?
I quite liked Harding from Dragon Age the Veilguard. She was a well-written character. But apart from that, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I play so many new games that I don't really, unless the character sticks out to me, I don't really remember their names. That's bad, isn't it, really?
Not a problem. That might be a problem with this question. You might have to skip this one. Who are some of your favorite video game voices or voice actors?
Idris Elba and the person who does the voice for V. I think they're well done in Cyberpunk.
All right.
And Keanu Reeves' performance as well was quite good.
Oh yeah, Keanu was
Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah. Yep.
Idris Elba is from the Phantom Liberty DLC.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Oh, V's the girl, isn't she? Isn't she?
The main character, so it can be male or female. Actually, both male and female V voices done really well.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Did you ever own anything based on a video game? Toys, comic books, coloring books, that kind of stuff. Other things besides the game itself.
I have some posters from Cyberpunk.
Very cool.
But I haven't really got into the paraphernalia of it all, because I know that once I crack that can open... I collect games, like...
I'm trying to remember if...
They're trinkets.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if Funko has done Cyberpunk Funko Pops. I don't remember if they have or not.
Oh, don't you tease me. You know what that was.
I know you will. That was the point. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they did. I know they have Overwatch. I know they've done Halo stuff. I know they've done Borderlands.
Borderlands.
Yeah, there are Borderlands Funko Pops out there. Because when I first started watching you, when I first started watching The Chaos Queen, she said that, what's that little clanker's name in Borderlands?
Claptrap.
Yes, she mentioned Claptrap. I literally went on the HobbyDB website, which is the website where we track all the values if we want to pay attention to the values of the Funko Pops. I literally tracked down every single Funko Pop version of Claptrap.
Yeah, I'd imagine they've done a few.
Yeah.
I
Every
forgot
single
about
color.
The Borderlands series. You just reminded me.
Yep. Good old Borderlands. What is your favorite video game theme song?
See, I'm not sure of the name of it, but in the very finale of the base game of Cyberpunk, there is one of the most amazing tracks that play that just perfectly match up with the ending. It gives me goosebumps every time I hear it, and I've heard it about 300 times. But that one.
Cool. Yeah. Normally, folks, in the olden days, I would have put a sample, like a 3-second sample of that in here, but unfortunately, unless you own the copyright, you can't do anything with music and podcasts anymore.
That's a shame.
Yeah, they've gotten stupid. Or maybe they've gotten smarter. I don't know. Okay, so I know you have I'm assuming, I know you have a digital collection. I'm assuming you have a physical collection, so we're going to talk about both. But the general question is, how big is your video game collection?
Well over 300 games, I would imagine.
Is that physical or digidigital?
Digital. I don't have any physical.
Really? You don't have any physical games? Really?
Nope.
Huh. How do you keep
Which concerns me.
I was going to say, how do you keep track of over 300 digital... Like, you can't play... Like,
Steam.
No, I know, but I'm like, okay, so let's just say, for example, that my entire back wall of my living room that nobody can see, even though I'm waving at it, instead of the shelves of Funko Pops and Funko sodas and products and whatever from Funko, imagine all of that was games. Imagine that was 300 games. And I would be sitting here thinking, okay, I want to play this game. I'm going to spend 90 hours playing this game or 80 hours playing. Like, how do you go through and choose over 300 games digital? Like, you can't play all of... Have you played them all? At least once?
No. I have games. I have games in my library that I haven't even opened.
Why?
Because I want it. I'm a capitalist. I need. I may eventually get round to them. I think I probably play 10 to 12 games on the regular. It's good fun going through my library going, oh, I didn't realise I had that game. I'll play that this afternoon.
Yeah.
It's a little mystery tour.
Yeah, exactly. Like, roulette through Gawky Let's Play's Steam library. Let's just see what, spin it to win it. Winner, gamer dinner.
It's even worse when you have to try and get a refund from Steam because
I know,
someone's asked you, should we play this game? And I go, oh, I don't think I've got that. So I go and buy it. So this appears to already be in your library. Why do they tell you that after the transaction?
I know. Yeah, I know, right? Like, if it's in my library, shouldn't it show up in my library? Heaven forbid anything happened to it used to be called Voodoo, it is now Fandango. Heaven forbid anything happened to my Fandango library, because I purchased all of those, and I'm pretty sure I haven't kept all of the emailed receipts. Now, if I want to go to war with Apple over losing music, I've got almost every single Apple email receipt since 2006. Every $1.29 download. Wow. Of course, I'm not going to fight them over this. If something happens, fine, I'll just go find it on Spotify, whatever. But, that's what I would do. Any digital thing I purchased, whatever it was, I would create a folder in my Gmail account, and I would put the receipts in it. I've got receipts for iTunes stuff, which is all the music and the movies and the whatevers. I've got receipts for this. I've got receipts for that. I have a whole section called PayPal and online purchases, and then that has a whole subsection of like 20 other folders, so I can like, dude, yeah. It would
I think I
be a
just heard my email crying.
I keep it like,
to be organized.
That's probably one of the only ways in my life I'm actually organized. So, I don't know. But because I don't want to lose it.
I know what I'll be doing to my email later.
Well, I don't want to lose it, and I don't want to have to keep it in my inbox, because if I keep it in my, what I used to do, and I've done this ever since. When did I first get? I first had Hotmail in 1990. Did Hotmail come out? MSN started 98, 99. No, it was 99. It was because I had just graduated high school going into college, which that didn't work, unfortunately. I know, folks, we'll get back to video games in a minute. Give us a time. First time we've had a conversation here. But in 1999, I picked my Hotmail email address at the time, ashbridges21@hotmail.com. Yes, the email still works, folks. No, I don't check it very much, so whatever. Anyway, I did the same thing there. I wanted to be as organized as possible. And what I do at the end of every year, most people on New Year's Eve will go out and party. I'm too old for that shit. I'm 45. I ain't got time for that. What I do is I go into my Gmail inbox, and you see the thing where if you go to your everything else portion, and it says 1 out of 50 of 222 emails. The end of last year, that said 1 out of 50 of 700 emails. I cleared out 500 and something emails out of my inbox that I did not need whatsoever. So,
wow.
Yeah, I am very much trying to, I would love to be able to, let me just, let's see here, how many pages, it's it used to be 5 pages, it's 4 pages now, if you go deep into my inbox, but it's one of those things where I just have, when it comes to receipts and things I've purchased online, I have to have, say, I don't know, you don't do Patreon, do you? You don't have okay. Well, if you did, and I was subscribed to your Patreon, and if Chaos had her own Patreon and she did that kind of thing, I would have a Patreon folder, which I do currently because I do other people's Patreons at times, and I would have 2 folders within that folder, one for her, one for you. So the receipt from Patreon for your Patreon goes to your folder. It's just an organizational thing that my mother taught me. It was keep them all separate. I'm
cascading folders. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yay. Getting back to video game collection. So you said you usually play between 10 and 12 games at a time, or just is that what you're currently doing?
That's what I'm currently kind of doing between streams and off stream.
Okay, so let's just talk about the streaming stuff, because I'm going to ask you about that later anyway. Streaming currently, what are your games that you're most excited to be streaming at the moment?
That would have to be the Outlast Trials. I absolutely love it. I shouldn't love it quite as much. I'm not quite sure what it says about my psychology, but it's, I find it, there's nothing like it. I think that's what I like about it. There's horror, and then there's the Outlast Trials.
Right.
Particularly the first 2 games, because they were all stealth-based. There was no fighting back or throwing stuff. So you literally had to kind of shimmy your way through without getting spotted. But there's nothing that I've played. I can't say there isn't anything like it, because I don't know everything. But from what I've played, it's very unique. And I think that's what draws me to Cyberpunk as well, is that there is really nothing like it. And that catches my attention.
Yeah, absolutely. As I was watching you guys play, I don't know when this episode's going to air, but let's just say 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, What I notice is that it is very much similar to, it's first person for people that don't know, but I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably know. And I will be including all of Gawky's links in the show notes so you can go check out his channel, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So it's first person, and what it reminded me of a couple of times, I don't know if it was you or if it was Chaos, one of y'all had trouble getting up on a ledge. Maybe it was Dark. Maybe it was Darkblade. I forget. Somebody had trouble getting up on a ledge. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh my god, this reminds me of Mirror's Edge. When Mirror's Edge came out years and years and years ago, it was like first-person PlayStation. I think it was PlayStation exclusive. I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, folks, don't come at me in the comments on geekcastradio.com. But I remember watching Mirror's Edge, and I'm like, this is so freaking cool. Like, I had seen first-person shooting stuff and first-person view stuff before, but just the way they did Mirror's Edge and the way that they're doing the Outlast trials currently with whatever studio does the Outlast trials.
Red Barrels. Okay,
there you go. Hopefully there's not an ape in charge. Thank you for laughing at that. That's my worst joke all day, folks. I'll be here all night. I like the first person of it. I love first person on that because every other thing that I've seen lately of people that I watch that stream, it's like person top down, and I'm like, this is boring. It's not it's not that the people that are doing the streaming is boring. It's that the game itself looks boring to me. So even though I'm, the biggest wimp,
it feels more immersive for me.
Yes.
I feel more in the game. Yeah. The third person or bird's eye view feels like you're staring into a fish tank.
Yep.
You're not in the fish tank.
Sometimes third person can work. Like if it's third person, what was is it? What game is it? It's great. It's GTA. Doesn't matter which version, San Andreas to 4 to 5 to whatever. I don't know about 5, but between San Andreas and GTA 4, you have the option of having Nico be far away, middle, or basically first person when he's out walking. And I find for me, I have to use a multitude of those. I don't just use one of them. But looking at the Outlast, what? I can't talk today, folks. I've been podcasting for 16 years, but I talk with my tongue like this. It's a thistle. Yeah, I just, it's really cool. I love that first person view stuff. All right, what game or games had the biggest impact on your life?
That's a strange question for me.
Okay.
I don't know if I've encountered life-changing or altering media. I find them entertaining. I find things more or less entertaining.
But there isn't one that this really speaks to me on a whatever level, whether it's emotional or psychological or oh my god.
I think probably the closest might be It Takes Two. I think that narrative moved me. I found it really well written.
Yeah.
Particularly from the psychology of the child, because sometimes they don't quite get the psychology of children right, but they absolutely nailed it in that game. So I think that's probably the closest that kind of moved me emotionally.
Yeah. When did It Takes Two come out? A couple of years ago?
I think so. A couple of years back, I think.
Because honestly, I would put It Takes Two at the top of almost any gaming list at this point.
It is really, really well done. From story to environment design to puzzles, just really well thought out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It hides its complexity very well.
Yeah, it really does. And it's so fun because you have this story of this essentially going to be broken up family, the child, And the child, just like every other kid, and I come from divorced parents, so I know a lot about that kind of stuff, which is fine. I was 2 when my parents got divorced, so I didn't really have a whole thing as far as like what Rose goes through in the game. But basically, Rose wants to have her parents get back together, just like every person wants their parents together, kind of thing. And that her imagination sends them on this adventure. And oh God, what an adventure it is. And because it's a 2-player co-op, there's some, and I'm saying this for the listeners more so because you've already played it, some of those puzzles, you have to rely on the other player to do the right thing, when sometimes the other player just wants to sit there and dance.
But I also think it's an interest because it's the parents that are breaking up are the 2 that you're cooperating with.
Yeah.
So it's a reflection of their relationship and all the different aspects and facets of it, and very clever.
Very, very clever, absolutely.
And I also like the attention to detail for Rose as well, because a lot of children, when they understand breakups and stuff, it's not about them thinking, I want to get my parents back together. That's a much later developmental stage for children. But at her age, she would be wondering what she did wrong. And that comes across really strong in the game, that it's because children can't attribute kind of meaning to other people's behaviours, so they think it's their fault, or it's because something they've done, and that they did that really beautifully in the game.
Yeah, they did it very, very well, and that story is amazing, and I am so ready for split fiction.
Absolutely, yeah, I can't wait for that.
That'll be so fun. What was the most money you spent on a video game item ever? Example would be a print, poster, art print, a video game art book, that kind of thing.
Probably about £50 each for the 5 posters I've got of Cyberpunk.
Very cool, very cool.
They're displate ones, so they stick to the wall using magnets.
Yes. Yeah, love displate. Displate rocks.
They
do. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, they're not sponsors of the show. Do you have a my parents wouldn't let me play that video game story?
No, because my parents let me watch The Thing at 11, so I don't think they were really... the prohibitions were low.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
What is your opinion of the video game reboot, and which ones do you think have done the best, been the most successful?
You might have to give me a little bit of context to that question.
So I don't know, we might have to get rid of that question, because when I think of reboots, I think of them taking the same thing and just redoing it, so like your remasters kind of thing. But basically taking something like Halo and rebooting the entire franchise, and it doesn't really feel like the entire like RoboCop 84 versus RoboCop 2014. RoboCop 2014 was a reboot, and
okay,
yeah.
I probably haven't been around games long enough to know the originals, let alone the reboots.
Okay.
I started playing Borderlands at Borderlands 3. So,
what is your opinion of the video game Sidekick, Luigi, Tails, Clank, Claptrap, etc.? Love them, hate them, don't carry the way.
I think when they're done well, I appreciate them. I think Claptrap was done really well, but I'm trying to think of an example of probably the companions in Elder Scrolls Online. They get irritating. They keep saying the same dialogue line when they're running behind you. That gets super irritating.
Yeah. I can imagine it would. Recorded that one line and then just replaying it.
Well, if you're grinding for 2 hours and they're saying, "Oh, what have you found there? Oh, what have you found there? What are you going to do with that?" See, they're ground into my very soul.
Or, I don't have any ammo. I need to find some ammo. Or, my arrows are empty. I need to find more arrows. I cannot do that because, oh my god,
Or the puzzle hint. Why don't you try outside?
Yeah, exactly. Have you thought about going outside today? Hey kid, here's a hint. Turn the game off, go the fuck outside. That's what we want you to do. Even though you haven't been around gaming that long, I know you know sort of the history of gaming kind of thing. So I'm still going to ask this question because I still think it's an interesting question to ask. In your opinion, which decade represents the golden era of video games and why? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, or 2020s?
I'm not too sure how to answer that question. 90s, because that's when I was a child. That's probably
Well, yeah, I mean, the 80s started it, but the 90s kind of really cemented it, and then the 2000s evolved a little bit, the 2010s evolved a little bit, and now in the 2020s, it's just a bunch of stale survival games, which all have the same map and character and whatever. I don't know. But yeah, 90s.
That's where my experience is a bit kind of almost not unique, but quite different in the sense that I don't really have a nostalgia with games because I didn't really have much contact with them. So when people are kind of arguing over a reboot or a remaster, I'm like, I'll just take the game at face value and see what I think of it because I don't have that nostalgic pull that the game makers are drawing on, because it seems like a lot of reboots and remasters are really for that nostalgia, that feeling of going back to when you played that game, whereas I don't have that nostalgic reaction to stuff. I'm like, well, I'll see if it's a good game. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't.
Absolutely.
A lot of the debates are pointless for me, really.
Some people view video games as something for children and don't view gaming as a serious art form and media that adults should consume. Who should video games be for, in your opinion?
I suppose that all depends how you see video games. I see it as almost like Netflix, as a source of entertainment. Instead of sitting watching telly for hours on end, I'll play video games. So from that perspective, they're for anyone with free time.
There you go. All right, folks, we are now entering the Gamer Fantasy Funland. Yay. If you could own any vehicle featured in a video game, which one would it be?
It would probably be the tank from Destiny 2.
That's a good tank. If you could live in any video game world that you wanted to, and you would obviously be alive, you would, you wouldn't die, hello, but which one would you want to live in?
Night City, definitely.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Who would be your top 3 gamer pals to join you and become a quartet? Examples are Mario, Sonic, Fennec, Femshep, Solid Snake, etc., etc. So you get to choose 3 characters to join you and become a barbershop quartet of gamers.
I think it would be Jackie Wells, Tiny Tina, and the Tooth Fairy from Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, why you want The Rock?
I think he's also in the Borderlands series, but he's in Tooth Fairy persona, and I think he's funny. So that would be my 3.
Very cool, very cool. If you could date any video game character, which one would it be?
It would be Kerry Eurodyne from Cyberpunk.
Very cool, very cool. What is the holy grail of video game artifacts? Examples: Fire Flower, Mega Buster, Samus's gun, etc., etc.
Your references pull from a very specific genre.
Okay. Because I'm used to old people actually knowing gaming and growing up with it. Okay, fine. God, I don't know the tank from Destiny 2, the this from that, I don't know modern things. I know classic things. I'm old, man.
I'd go with the Hollow Core from Cyberpunk, because I think that's extremely cool. The Destiny 2 Ghost, because I think he'd just be funny to hang out with.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Very cool. We are now exiting the Gamer Fantasy Funland. Final question. What is one piece of advice that you'd give the video game fandom in general?
Relax and just enjoy the games.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to go to a quick ad break. You're going to hear some ads and some other stuff, and we're going to come back to close the show right after this.
I'm deep in the evidence area. I have no idea how to get out of here with this noggin. Oh, fuck. Oh.
Hi.
Oh, God, places I need to which I can't reach. Oh, jeez. Okay, boo.
How are you?
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Hey. Where the fuck did I drop? I dropped the head.
Oh no.
Hi, I'm Gawky. Let's play. Visit my YouTube channel to check out all the good stuff that I'm doing. I've got Cyberpunk videos. I've got Outlast trial videos. I've got Power World, Avowed. Several things going on, and I do a selection of commentary and no commentary streams and videos. Sometimes you just want to enjoy a game and see how it goes. So if that sounds interesting to you, go check me out at youtube.com/@Gawky Let's Play.
On the Simplistic Reviews podcast, we talk movies. We talk TV. We talk.
Hello, Julie, what the heck are you doing?
Trying to make our spots sound more exciting by adding explosions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have got the point across with sound effects, not the real thing.
Download the show on iTunes or at simplisticreviews.blogspot.com.
I'm sure your insurance company will cover that.
No, they won't.
No, they probably won't.
Would you like to be on the Origins episodes here at Studio 2009? Send an email to feedback@geekcastradio.com with the subject line Gamer Origins Guest Spot. You must have 1 year or more of podcast experience, have a good mic, and be on Skype or Discord.
Edit point.
Edit point.
All right, gamers, we are back here inside Studio 2009, the Gamer Origins. Any final thoughts from you, sir? Anything you want to say before I run through the closing?
No, I think that covers everything about me. Go check out the games that I've mentioned. There's some good ones in there.
Very cool, very cool. And like I said, folks, all of his links will be in the show notes. You can check them out on YouTube and all that good stuff. As always, we want to thank you for joining us here inside Studio 2009. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content. You can check out our brand new fourth wall store at shop.geekcastradio.com. You can get T-shirts up to 4XL, you can get mugs, you can get, I don't know if mouse pads are in there yet, but they should be, hopefully. You can get gamer pads, I think, and a bunch of other cool stuff, so check that out. You can send us email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can check us out on all the podcatching clients you choose to use. I prefer Spotify, but that's just me. You can follow us on Twitter at Geekcast Radio, for the network at It's Studio 2009. For the show, I am at TFG and Mike. You can become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can also check out Studio 2009 podcast over there as well. Join us next time for something. I don't know what it's going to be yet. It's episode 130, so I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I think it's going to be another Gamer Origins episode, but I'm not sure because I haven't confirmed that yet, so I didn't want to say it here that it was going to be because it hasn't been set in stone yet. Because, no. Anyway, for now, I am TFG and Mike with
Gawky Let's Play.
Thank you for listening. You'll hear us back in the studio soon.